Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode on the show. We've got a Katana MkII video for you today, just chasing some of those tones from Rust in Peace and Countdown to Extinction. As Marty Friedman just did that concert with them in Budokan the other week, and it just got me so excited seeing that Marty was just up there playing with them, and never been so happy. It was just a really cool moment. So I hope they play again together, but who knows? It really just made me want to pull out the guitar and just bust out some Megadeth riffs from that sort of era. And anyway, we'll just see how this goes. So the first tone we'll check out today is the rhythm tone off Rust in Peace, and to me this is the most iconic Megadeth tone of all time. It's just those Bogner triple giants and the VHT power amps, and I don't know what it is about the tone. It's just got this really sort of crunchy mid-range bite to it, but it's really sort of grainy and chaotic at the same time. It's a really cool thrash rhythm tone. I don't think it gets the love that it deserves. None of these tend to. But I know I've done this before with the Boss Katana MkII when I first got it, but I wasn't really familiar with the amp, and the tone that I got just didn't cut it for me. So I came back and I've had another go, and we're using the actual brown sound as the main hub of the amp here. You can see the settings up there on the screen. It really comes down to that input EQ there, just scooping out those frequencies in the front around the 250k and then boosting them around the 500, and that really gives you that aggressive sort of bark that tone has. And then in the power output EQ there, we're just sort of bumping some of those frequencies and just cutting them off on the top and bottom, just so that it sounds more like the record there. And as well, I've got a bit of a mid boost just going in the front end, and that really gives it that snarl. But we'll just get into it and check it out and see how you think. And it seems to have that right sort of aggression to it. It's got that sort of snarl on the top end, and it's like a nasty tone. It's really cool. So the guitar that I'm using today is my Jackson King V with the Seymour, Duncan, Dave Mustaine Thrashfactor pickups. And these are really based on that JB that he used to record Rust in Peace in those days. And it was meant to be a different sort of JB that was really sort of edgy and growly and a lot different from the others. And I've been using these a couple of years. The neck pickup is just a standard SH1, but it's color coded to meet the bridge pickup. But the bridge is actually, it really is a nasty pickup. It's got that attack like it's a ceramic style magnet that's in there. Like ceramic magnets are always really harsh and really brittle, I find, but it's an Alnico magnet, but it's just been pushed really hard, and it's just got a really aggressive tone. But what I'll do while we're doing these tones, I'll just swap it out with the RR5, and that's got a TB-4 JB in it, and as well as the Seymour Duncan Livewires that's in the VMNT there. So we'll just swap them all around, get a taste for the tone, and just see how it goes. So outputting the video today out of the Boss Katana MkII, we're going into the 2 notes Torpedo Captor X, where this is actually simulating my 1936V cabinet, my 212 right there. And that's loaded with some Celestion vintage speakers. They're not vintage 30s, they're more modelled off the original vintage 30s, I guess, that came out in the very early to mid 80s. And it's got a sort of harsh attack, but I've A'd and B'd it and set it up with the microphones and things, so this actually sounds the same as that cabinet when I mic it with an SM57. You can download those presets anyway in the description for all my Torpedo Captor X. And anyway, back on with the show. We'll swap guitars just so you can hear the RR5 in comparison. I actually think that the RR5 sounds a lot more balanced for these sorts of tones. It's always been a favourite of mine for doing the Marty Friedman, and it's got a really richness about it for the solos. It's actually one of the favourite guitars that I've got, so I don't know if it's these actual pickups or what it is, but this is just a really sweet sounding guitar and never sounds bad. But I'll just keep on going. That was really cool. It's so much fun, but Dave's a really good player, and I learned so much from just trying to emulate his technique to get the same sort of sound, because even though it's a very distorted sound, he doesn't play caveman-like, just with all down strokes or choking the strings off. His hand barely even sort of mutes the strings at times, and he's very light on the pick, and it's a really hard technique just to play and get everything to be clean with the right amount of palm muting. It's not too much, it's not too little, but that's part of the tone. And if you can just sort of work that out and work on that really light palm mute technique, you'll find that the tone will actually carry a lot more. But this is sort of like an example on Holy Wars. We'll just go through that intro and I'll show you what I mean. This is with a very light picking technique. But we'll play that riff again and I'll just choke it down a fair bit more and you'll just hear the difference, and it loses that sort of Dave Mustaine feel about it. You can hear it almost, there's no sort of note to it, it's just very percussive. So I guess just move your hand around where it feels right, and you don't have to really attack the strings with too much force either. And that's awesome. I could play Rust in Peace Riffs all day, but we'll move on. We'll get to some Countdown to Extinction. But again, this is just such an iconic classic album, and to hear Marty come out and they all did that Countdown to Extinction together, and I was just, well, it was too much. But anyway, Countdown to Extinction. Again, that's a really cool tone. It's not as cool as Rust in Peace to me, but it's a lot meatier and it's much more of a Megadeth tone. But I'll just swap to the VMNT now and we'll see how that sounds. There's a lot more lower mid-range that comes out of this guitar. It's just got like a heavier thump to it, and it's really rich in all departments. It's a great sounding guitar, but I find this one I get a bit excited and I just play a little bit too heavy on the strings, but it's a fantastic guitar all the same. Sounds great. I'll play that riff again with this one, and you'll just hear that the Thrashfactors just have a lot more mids going on that's really pushing that signal and causing it to break up a lot more. So the core tone that's going on with the Boss Katana Mark II for the Countdown is actually the brown tone again. I really find this brown amp inside, it's just a really good amp, and it's half Marshall, it's half 5150 sort of sounding. It's just a really cool amp. But with that, it's fairly basic. I've just got a little bit going on with the input there, a little bit thicker than Rust in Peace on that input, just raising a few of those frequencies around the 250. And then for the output there, again, we're using the Para EQ, and I'm not letting so many higher end frequencies come through. We're sort of cutting off the gate at around 8 kilohertz, I believe. But anyway, it's all there that you can see it. There's nothing going on the front end. It's just a sort of more basic tone, but it's rich at the same time. But anyone that wants to download them, there's links in the description, and go check them out. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.